Paul is dead. There's a theory that Paul McCartney died in 1966.
Yes, there is.
There's a lot of compelling evidence to this, and they believe that they didn't want to tell anybody because it would make these young teenagers go into a frenzy because the Beatles were so beloved at this time. So these are the top 7 reasons why Paul is dead. Number 1, crossing Abbey Road without his shoes on.
Those are just symbols. That's not reasons, but okay.
The theory is the Abbey Road album cover started so many conspiracy theories, but the fact that Paul is pictured without shoes on is often used as evidence that Macca was dead at the time Abbey Road was released. That Macca was dead at the time Abbey Road was released in 1969.
Who's Macca?
That Macca? I don't know.
I don't know who that is.
And replaced by a lookalike.
Named?
Fred. I don't know.
I know his fucking
What is his name?
His name is Billy Shears.
McGillicuddy.
They talk about him on Sgt Pepper.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Because Billy Shears is actually pictured in the background with all the people.
Yeah.
And on the cover of
William Campbell.
Oh, here you go.
It's Billy Shears because they say introducing the singer. You want to sing along, Miss Billy Shears.
All right.
He won the contest.
Number 2. That's another thing that they had a contest, and he was the one that.
We'll get to that.
Okay. Number 2, the bass guitar wreath on Sgt. Pepper's.
It was a grave site.
Yes, Sgt. Pepper. The whole album. All these people in the background are visiting. They're at the funeral.
At Paul's funeral.
Including master occultist Aleister Crowley.
Yes, he is over here on the left. Another surefire piece of evidence, according to conspiracy theorists, there is a yellow wreath at the bottom of the Sgt. Pepper Lonely Hearts Club Band album, shaped of a bass guitar. All right. The fact that Paul McCartney played the bass and the wreath is shaped of a bass is indisputable evidence that he died and was replaced by a lookalike. Each Beatles member was allowed to choose a number of famous figures to appear on the Sgt. Pepper album. And one of John's choices was his old best mate and former Beatles member, Stu Sutcliffe, who died in 1962. Sutcliffe originally played bass for the band, and the bass guitar wreath is most likely a tribute to him. Number 3, in quotes, I buried Paul, Strawberry Fields Forever. The theory is, the outro of Strawberry Fields Forever, John Lennon can be heard on the left channel of the recording to saying something along the lines of, I buried Paul.
Actually, it was Ringo.
The fact is, it panned hard left in recording suggestions. It was picked up on a cymbal microphone.
Google me, motherfucker.
Cymbal microphone that John was standing near Ringo's drum set. The logical explanation, Paul McCartney later came out and said that John is saying cranberry sauce. While some people believe John was saying, I'm very bored, the Beatles were fully aware of Paul McCartney's lookalike and rumors at the time. And it's possible that the man with John Lennon's sense of humor could have just been trolling us. Oh, this one right here, 28IF on the license plate. The registration plate of the Volkswagen Beetle in the cover of Abbey Road reads LMW28IF. Conspiracy theorists claim that this is a reference to if 28IF. The logical explanation is Paul McCartney was actually 27 at the time, not 28. Number 5, Billy Shears. The theory is in Sgt. Pepper's album, the Beatles reference that they have formed a new band with the one and only Billy Shears. Billy Shears is thought to be the name of Paul's replacement. The Beatles, under an incredible amount of pressure to come up with a number 1 album, after already having come up with 7 of them, helped channel their creativity by coming up with aliases such as Billy Shears during the recording process. After years of writing songs, you need to hear something a bit different in order to write something a bit different.
Huh?
Yeah.
What?
That last sentence kind of looped us back around for a minute there.
They give a reason why the theory, and then it gives an explanation of it. So they're just saying that that the theory is they're just trying to be creative. Number six. He blew his mind out in a car. The theory is, while various Paul McCartney lookalike theories are all involve Paul McCartney dying in a car, the cause of death varies. One theory is that he took his own life, and this is referenced by John Lennon in the track "A Day in the Life." Logical explanations. If you look behind the fact that the change from John Lennon section of Day in the Life to McCartney section, the most McCartney thing ever, then this is still a tenuous piece of evidence. I don't know. And then the last one, Paul is dead. I miss him. I miss him. The theory is, on top of the blew his mind out in a car theory, some also claim that if you play I'm So Tired backwards, John can be heard to sing, Paul is dead. I miss him. I miss him. Some people claim that you can hear, will Paul be there as Superman on A Day in the Life? The logical explanation, you can play almost any song backwards and hear any phrase you want if you hear it enough.
So we're not going to talk about the fact that he was backwards in the photograph on Sgt. Pepper's?
That's another one, too.
Is that on there?
No, it's not one of them.
I mean, how much does this hold water? Do you guys believe this is real or what? Because I've seen the documentary.
I have
The
two.
one on Disney?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's funny to watch Paul McCartney do interviews and they ask him about that kind of stuff. And he said that, it was a total hoax and they just kind of ran with it. It was their manager's idea to just stir up the pot a little bit. And he said, like, he would go visit his friends and stuff and they would be like looking at him differently and like,
are you the real Paul?
Kind of checking him out, like.
Well, this guy that they got to replace him, I mean, he's doing wonders.
Well,
for
Brian
things,
Epstein
you know what I mean?
set up a contest prior to all this happening. And the theory is that this guy won the Paul McCartney lookalike contest.
And they hired him to be
that
the
was
Paul.
Billy Shear. There's a bunch of guys that won, but when in Paul McCartney was supposed to have died in a car accident, not suicide. Yeah. And they said that this Billy Shears was supposed to replace him.
Well, it was an accident, right? He was driving his car and he got in an accident to like Tim said in the beginning to
he was like drinking, and he just got mad and then he crashed.
And then to avoid the hysteria of Beatlemania and suicides, they decided to replace Paul, and give this other dude like, hey, we're gonna. But again, how great at the time is like, if you believe it, like medical surgery for reconstruction to make someone look like that has to be like, we weren't even at that age, right? I mean, if you want to,
no, you got surgery, you look kind of messed up.
Yeah,
but this isn't the first time. Like most people think,
like you believe this is true.
I think it's a
publicity
thing.
Yeah, I think it's a far-fetched thing. I don't know.
They already. I mean, at the time of this,
it's a cool story.
7 freaking #1 hits, right?
Yeah.
Number
they
one
had albums, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
and now
hundreds of hits.
That is unheard of nowadays.
Dozens.
But how else can they up the ante? In Pink Floyd, I'm not sure when this was, but the Publius Enigma. Do you know that?
What? What are you talking
Publius?
Publius. Is that
Enigma.
a drink? Is that a
So
fruit
they
drink?
end up putting like little. Everybody knows that Pink Floyd would put messages in their songs.
Yes, that's Pink Floyd.
And then
During that era, backwards taping in the studio was a very, very, very popular thing.
And I want to say maybe in the 90s or early 2000s, there was an album that came out. It's the first album after Roger Waters left. And they put Publius Enigma, and somebody was online, and they were like on a chat room or like a forum board, and they were just, people thought it was fake. But end up finding out that they were like, oh, if you, I think I have something. All right, so this is a letter.
The Delicate Sound of Thunder was the album that was the first album to not feature Roger Waters.
I love that song.
And then, so this is what was
Reading the
written
Flag.
in
It's a
it.
great
It
album.
says, "My friends, you have heard the message Pink Floyd has delivered, but have you listened? Perhaps I can be your guide, but I will not solve the enigma for you. All of you must open your minds and communicate with each other, as this is the only way answers can be revealed." So they're saying, in this, on the forum, there's going to be a prize if you can crack the code. And everyone thought it was just bullshit until at one of the concerts, it said Publius Enigma on the big screen. And like, oh shit, it's something. Ended up coming out, back in like 2021 in an interview that it was just made up by the record labels to gather because they needed a boost after Roger Waters left because they were nervous.
Okay.
So I mean, it's not out of the realm. These record labels, they
Well, this whole thing started because the Beatles decided not to tour anymore.
and that's true.
So everyone's like, what's happening that they're not going to tour anymore? Well, the reality is, during the tour of 65 and the beginning of 66, the crowd was so obsessed with the Beatles that there's a few times they tried to escape and get in their safety vehicles, and the crowds almost flipped the cars over, and John and Paul were like, we're going to fucking die. These people are going to kill us. So it was so traumatic, they had a conversation saying, let's not tour anymore. Let's make it special. Let's just make music. And that's why the dynamics changed. They didn't have to worry about playing songs they could play live. Now they have a studio and they could just use their imagination to create whatever they wanted to create.
And that was good. That whole, I mean, although not a lot of hits came from Sgt. Pepper's album, it was a really great album.
A lot of hits on
Oh,
Sgt. Pepper.
that whole album is a hit.
I mean,
One
compared,
of the biggest selling albums of all time.
is it really?
Yes.
It's my favorite
It's a
Beatles.
Beatles album,
Yeah,
dude.
what are you
Are
talking
serious?
about? Every Beatles album had at least 5 or 6 hits on that.
Yeah.
There's
huge.
Strawberry Fields Forever, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds,
Penny Lane.
Penny Lane.
I mean, it goes on and on and on,
Do
dude.
you want to?
But it was creative. That's
All You
that's
Need
where
Is
I was
Love.
getting.
Oh,
That's where I was getting at.
That's on the White Album.
It was
Is it?
definitely
Oh,
a
never
fucking real creative album, and it was different.
Yeah, but not a lot of hits came out.
For-
of it.
But it was
for
a
that time
follow-up
period.
to the Magical Mystery Tour.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's
And
what
they
I
were
was thinking.
recording those all in the same sessions.
They were.
Dude, don't forget, John Lennon said Walrus was Paul. They were switching it
Yeah,
up.
that was true too.
Yeah. Because they showed
I am
Paul, the Walrus playing the John Lennon part, and he's like, yeah, I got news for you all, the Walrus is Paul.
Well,
A little
this
help,
is
a little
this
help
is
of my
definitely.
friends.
What about
Is that on that album?
Yeah, that's a great album. This is the second song. That's right after Sgt. Pepper's. A Life in the Day, A Day in a Life.
Yeah.
Dude, those are all
Lovely
huge songs.
Rita?
Meter
Lovely
Maid.
Rita, Meter
Oh.
Maid. Those are such great songs.
Let me look at it.
You should blast that shit right now, dude. Take a break and let's rock
That's
out
like
some-
one of my
Ooh.
favorite albums.
Absolutely.
And what draws me to it is the cover. There's so much lore and mystique and urban legend on
Yeah.
that just the cover alone. That's fucking amazing. Not a lot of cover albums or bands do shit like that anymore.
Nope.
Well, they put
It's a double. It's double sided.
back in the day when music was music, man. Fuck.
Now it's just everyone's going for just a cash grab.
Oh, it's just everything is
There's a lot of good hits on this one.
Dude, it's the Beatles. It works.
For some reason, in my head, I was like, man, their best stuff was earlier.
No.
dude. You can pick any chapter of them.
Yeah, it was
and it's gonna
good.
be great. I was so anti Beatles because everybody was so Beatles. I was like, oh, you guys like the Beatles? Like, I don't like the Beatles. Everyone likes the Beatles. But then finally, when I gave it a chance, I go, oh shit, now I know what everyone's talking about. They're fucking amazing. I was depriving myself for years of fucking such amazing music,
Well, now you have it.
and now I have it. I'm not fucking listening to the Beatles.
Well, this is Ben,
And still.
number 7, top 7. Paul is dead,
oh,
and we are the Red Light Dish Show, and we'll be right back with
Something.
something.
It's going to be great. Stay tuned.
Sergeant Tim and the Lonely.
Hit subscribe
Clubs.
in the meantime.
Leave a comment, subscribe, like, and we'll be right back.